Welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. My name is Lincoln Shrike, joined today by Gordon Mack, who is, I assume, somewhere in this great state of Pennsylvania. Gordon, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm back in my hometown where I grew up, which is a big deal for me because my parents moved out of my hometown when I was like 22. So for like a decade, I never got to go home, like home for Christmas or for Thanksgiving or any that time. But my parents bought a new house back in my hometown. So now I get to actually be on the streets of where I was raised. So it's nice. It's exciting.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is big news. When did they buy
So
it? This year?
Yeah, so they moved in like a month ago. So when I got in last night and I got to tour the house for the first time, see what the basement looks like, the attic and all that stuff. So I was jealous. I was like, this would have been a good house to actually live in when I was a kid, but it's okay. So it's cool to be, back. There's something about just being in your town where you know where the streets are, you know where the local Wawa joint or like the deli down the street. It just feels good. It's comforting. It's like home cooking.
You've only
but
been living in
streetwise.
Austin for what? You've only been living in Austin for 7 years. It doesn't feel like you know where things are at this point.
Well, I know in Austin is, but it's just like you want memories. You come back, you're like, oh, I remember in high school I used to go to that place, or in middle school I used to buy a pack of Cheetos from that 7-Eleven. You just want to know. You just like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, this time of year, obviously special for Christmas, but we're also getting up to another birthday for you. How are you feeling coming up on another year older?
Oh, yeah. That is, my birthday is December 30th. So big 3-3. I found out today or yesterday that my dad is 66. So this is the year that my dad had me. Because once you're half the age of your dad, that's the year. And then it made me think, I'm like, whoa, my dad had me at my age. That's crazy because I was child number 3. And, I don't have any kids. I'm not married. So you and Kevin are already like off with the racehorses with all your kids you're popping out, and I'm still at 0. But it made me think like, wow, my dad was like done with parenting at my age, and I haven't even thought about starting. So it's crazy.
Okay, everybody has their own speed. Sometimes I'm definitely jealous of people like yourself with 0 kids. A lot of freedom there. So, particularly at the 2 o'clock and 5 a.m. hours, I'm very jealous of you. While you're very sound asleep. So, we all do it in our own time. Okay, so on today's episode, we're going to try to pick the best NCAA athletes of 2020, which is a little bit of a tough exercise considering there was no indoor championships, obviously no outdoor championships, or a cross-country season. We did have a few performances. Obviously, the indoor season was 90% complete when it got started or when it got stopped. And then there were some competitions, in between there, be it athletes running at pro meets or, a few cross country races. So this will lean pretty heavily, Gordon, on the distance athletes who, for whatever reason, just had way more opportunities than the sprinters, the field event athletes, or anyone else.
Yeah, when looking at the list and looking back at what people did in indoors, no one did anything in outdoors, and then what people did this fall. There wasn't many hurdling events or many shot put or weight throws going on in December or November of this year, but we did have a bunch of cross country races, distance races. So, like you said, it's gonna lean distance. It is a FloTrack pod, but today it might be the Flow long distance track pod, but that's okay. It's okay. We do have some honorable mentions, though. I think we have a top 8 list, but we have 6 honorable mentions. And I think we should give a little love to some honorable mentions before we get into our top 8 list.
Okay.
This is a combined men's and women's list. So for the record, so honorable mention on the women's side, we have Julian Alfred from Texas. She ran 7.1 in the 60, which was good for number 7 all time. I think she was just a sophomore. She's not from America. I think she's from, I forget where she's from, but
like a Caribbean nation, I think.
Caribbean nation.
I think.
7.1 is good. St. Lucia is where she's from.
There you go. Yeah.
But she's pretty young too. She was only a sophomore last year, and she's going to be a big player in this upcoming 2021 season. I was talking to another top collegiate coach, and he was telling me, watch out for the Texas women. They're really good. They're going to be really good in
Yep, makes
2021.
sense.
They got the USC transfer, Chanel Brissett. You have this sprinter here in Julian Alfred. You have other athletes who kind of were under the radar last year. So look out for Texas women. But she's an honorable mention. She ran 7.1 in the 60. We also have Tanya Marshall from LSU. She ran 786 in the 60 hurdles, which is number 3 all time. And then Olivia Groover of Washington in her 5th year of pole vaulting. She was a transfer from – where's she transferred from?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, that's it, yeah. She transferred from Kentucky, but she vaulted 4.7 meters. She actually competed at USA Indoors, took 3rd. So Groover, Marshall, and Alfred were my female honorable mentions.
Yeah, it's a good list. I mean, these would be people who would some of whom would have been probably in contention for the Bowerman if a season would have run. You're right. Alfred and Marshall, I think, were potential breakout stars who really had their breakout stolen from them. Obviously, it was the pandemic. Every athlete had their season stolen from him. But it's kind of cruel in that sense because it felt like the momentum building for those athletes, similar to ways like that it was for Sha'Carri Richardson in 2019. And I'm not saying 1075 or anything like that, but in any case, we'll see what those athletes can bring. But yeah, honorable mention simply because they just didn't really compete after indoors because there weren't those opportunities.
Yeah.
So are we going to start 8 and go to 1, or how do you want to do this for our
list? There's 3 honorable mentions on the men's side, so we're gonna list those off.
Yes. Just keep jumping the gun. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
On the men's side, we're gonna have Trey Cunningham, who from Florida State, kind of was being in Florida and being good at the same time as Grant Holloway.
Overshadowed.
Got overshadowed. But now that he's in the NCAA by himself, he put down a good mark. He ran 751, which is number 7 all time. Very good for Trey. He probably would have won indoors, maybe won outdoors. Gleb Dudouvre. I don't know. Is that how I say it? Dudouvre?
Dudarev? I would say Dudarev.
Dudarev. Great name, Gleb. I should name my child Gleb Mac. That'll be great.
Child that you don't have. Gleb Mac? Yeah, I like
Gleb
that.
Mac. I like that, Gleb Mac. But he, from Kansas, he was the 5th man ever to throw a weight throw over 80 feet. So number 5 all time, throws a weight throw 80 feet. He probably would have won the weight and the hammer. And like you said, been in the Bowerman conversation. And then Johannes Erm of Georgia, he had a top 11 mark in the heptathlete. Georgia, heptath, pentath, decath, heptath, U. Multis U. Yeah, I guess that's a shorter way to say it. But he was good. And you got to give a little love for that. There were also some like the Javon Harrison, a really good long and high jumper. There's some other good guys that kind of they just didn't have a NCAA title to give them any love yet. But there's a really good crop of younger field event athletes coming, especially in the NCAA. Because a lot of these field event athletes aren't going pro early. So 2021 and 2022, we should see a lot of good horizontal and vertical jumps, which would be exciting.
Yeah, that would be cool because, just the stuff on the track has been so good. It's always good, but, it'd be cool to see those events get their share as well. And, last year, if any field event got attention, it was obviously the men's pole vault when Mono Duplantis and Nielsen were there. So, I'd be excited to see what those guys bring when they come back. Not every star has gone pro early. So we will eagerly anticipate the indoor season. All right, now I'm done jumping the gun. Are we for our official list? Are we going to go 8 to 1? I mean, probably don't want to start with 1. That would be okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Build some anticipation. We want people to listen to the whole pod. Give the best last.
Okay, so number 8, we have Penn's Nia Akins, who has gone professional, signed with the Brooks Beast. I think it was the first signing. I mean, hers was way back in, I don't know, May or something. It seems like a long time ago. during the indoor season, she ran 2 flat 71 in Boston, 0.02 off the collegiate record. And it looks like here you also have, she ran a 127 600. She felt like, I mean, she was going to be the huge NCAA favorite indoors and out, second both indoors and out in 2019. Yeah, just a hair off a collegiate record. That's good enough to make this list for sure.
Yeah, if she could have kept that momentum going, she probably would have gone into the Olympic trials with 2 NCAA titles under her belt, probably had run 159 by then, and she would have been like, hey, I can make this final and see what happens at the trials. Now she has another year of training, but kind of training under the radar. No one's really talking about her because she's not in the NCAA system, and I guess she's not out there running fast 800s during the year of 2020. So we'll see what type of Aikens are we going to get. Is she going to come out of on the starting line, start running 201s, 202s, or is she going to come right away and be a 2 flat 159 woman right away? Mm-hmm. She's a 2 flat 159 in March of 2021. That's a good sign for her chances at the Olympic trials. So Nee Aikens, number 8.
Yeah.
You okay with that ranking so far?
Yeah, I am. I mean, you look at the names above her, and it's a pretty stacked list. I'll take issue with some of the other order here, but for now, I'm satisfied with where Aikens goes. I mean, she just didn't have the opportunities. I know she competed in some of the friendlies or whatever, and didn't jump off the page on any of those. But moving across the country, pro for the first time, probably new training system. She's 2021 will be her, where we'll see what she's made of in the pro scene.
Yeah, number 7, another female athlete, Whitney Orton. Kind of another one of those athletes, similar to like the field event athletes, who hasn't been given an opportunity to really get that championship performance. She had an incredible slash. I call it a slash. It's like a baseball, basketball. But she ran a 4:29 mile, 8:49 3K, 15:22 5K. So it's a really good range right there for the mile to 5K. So she was ready to roll. She was part of that DMR squad that probably would have been the favorites to win if she was the anchor for the DMR. But obviously she didn't have an indoor season championship. During COVID, she went on to break the world record in the basketball dribbling mile, which of course is a big deal. And she easily won the OSU invite. Wasn't against any good competition at the time. It sounded like she was going up against Kaladi or Danny Jones or anyone like that. But still impressive. She showed she was clearly better than everyone else. And that slash, 4:29, 8:49, 15:22. I mean, that's good enough to be a top tier NCAA athlete of 2020.
Yeah, not just a basketball dribbling mile world record, but she ran 4:58 while dribbling a basketball. That's pretty tough. The times that have been coming out of these basketball miles are impressive. I mean, I know you can kind of toss the ball in front of you, but I don't know. I was impressed by that. And this will be my first one where I kind of take issue with. I tend to think the female athletes, besides Aikens, the female athletes on this list, I would have swapped them. And I won't tell who you have number 4 here, but I think Orton deserved a little more credit than number 7. I would have put her higher on this list. I don't want to give away who we have because we're keeping the secret of no spoilers. Okay. But why did you have Orton where she was on 7th on this list, given all that she accomplished here? Why so low, I guess?
How about this? We'll wait. I'll discuss why when you talk about the other athlete you're debating should have been higher for, and then I can tell you why. So we'll wait till we get to number 4.
Fair enough.
And then can debate me about the merits of my ranking that I did, that I spent hours and hours painstakingly combing through the decimal points, the ratings of every performance, altitude, flat track, banked, time of day, time of week, time of year,
Yeah. So, no, totally.
But we'll get into it. I think you might also disagree with number 6. I feel like you're going to want number 6 to be higher as well.
Yeah, there's
number 6.
Yeah.
Number 6, I'm going Cooper Tier. Cooper Tier, who, for an Oregon athlete, had one of the quietest, most impressive season for an Oregon athlete, I think, of all time. And it's all because there was no championship race for him to be like the poster boy for, but like when you actually look into the numbers, and I did, his 2020 season, you could say is up there for one of the, if you take away NCAA championship performances, you could argue that Cooper Tier probably had one of the best, a top 5 Oregon athlete performance in a season.
Whoa.
If you take away
Tough to
NCAA
take away
championship
the NCAAs, but yeah.
You take away NCAAs because he didn't have an opportunity to run indoors, outdoors, or cross country in 2020. But he runs 13:17 in the 5K, which is the second fastest Oregon time all time. He's the anchor for the collegiate record in the DMR, 9:24. And then he also runs a 3:55 mile and a 7:46 3K.
Yeah.
Those 4 performances, I don't know. Like, Cheserek wasn't anchoring a DMR collegiate record. Cheserek wasn't running 13:17 in the 5K. I mean,
wow.
Rupp wasn't doing that. I mean, if you think about it, again, take away NCAAs, he actually had one of the all-time best regular seasons of any Oregon athlete, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as anyone that the collegiate record is obviously dependent a lot on your teammates. It's not like, I think he anchored in 355 for 1600. It's not like Cheserek couldn't have done that. So that was just teammates dependent. I mean, Cheserek's anchored, I think, in 350 or 352 before. No, it was great. Obviously, it sounds ridiculous when you say, well, you take out NCAA championships. Can't really compare Cooper Tier to Steve Prefontaine, Galen Rupp, Edward Cheserek without any NCAA championships, through no fault of Cooper Tier's. It was a great season. I do think he's a little low on this list. Way back in 2019, I got high on, I was high on Cooper Tier, not through any illicit drug use, just high on his stock. And then I got burned because he got like 22nd at NCAA outdoors in the 5,000 and was just like a non-factor. So I kind of cooled on him. And then he got, I think, top 10, top 15 at cross. And then indoor season struck and he was on fire. And you're right. He was definitely, one of the most impacted athletes. He may have gotten an NCAA title, although that would have been tough, obviously. He's fantastic. Been slightly overshadowed because there's a guy who we'll talk about in a little bit who's been a little bit better. And, even though he's run fast in the mile, he's not really a miler. So he's just not the best at everything at all the things he does well in the NCAA, but he's definitely like right there. And if someone said, oh, Cooper Tier is going to win an NCAA title, it's not like I would think that's crazy. He's right there. And it's weird to be like, yeah, Cooper Tier is like ascending the Oregon all-time list. And it's unfair because he's hit his peak right when there's been no NCAA championships. So in a way, we're not going to ever really see what he can do as, if he could have become like, this sounds almost crazy, but like if he could have become an all-time Oregon great, like we're not seeing that yet because his junior season or whatever was lost to the pandemic. So we'll see what comes for him. I think there's a real good shot in 2021 he gets an NCAA title. So because he's been quietly under the radar, very, very good. And a step here, a step there, he could have won the track meet 5,000 over our number one athlete. So it's been a real strong.
Hey, dude, why'd you do that? Why'd you have to give away who our number one athlete like there? I
didn't say the name. Okay,
yeah, but you said how many people are running at the track meet and winning it. You kind of can narrow it down. Anyway, don't pretend you didn't hear what Lincoln just said.
Yeah,
number 5. Number 5 on the list is an athlete who I think is the reason why Cooper Tier is 6 is because we would assume this athlete would beat Cooper Tier in an anchoring of a DMR, in an open mile or 3K. And that's
the rationale?
That's the rationale.
Is that the rationale for it? Yeah, go ahead.
That's my rationale. So Yair Nagus, he ran 3:55 in the mile. He soloed a 7:46. Okay, this is all during indoors. Then he was part of the DMR that qualified. So it wasn't a collegiate record DMR, but he was anchoring it. And then cross country, he goes in and wins ACCs, shows that he has that range, go up to the 8K. I think he was like 41st or 40th, somewhere around then at cross in 2019. then he goes on to win ACCs in 2020. Shows that he's definitely improved his range. And I think maybe a lot of people, myself, Kevin, I'm not sure about you, but I think Yared is a dark horse, not just a dark horse, but maybe sneakily, like I can see him getting third at the Olympic trials in the 1500.
Oh,
And if I think that's possible, I'm definitely going to rank him as a top 5 NCAA athlete of 2020. So Yared Nuguse
wow.
is number 5.
It's easy for some reason, maybe just so much has happened, to forget, though, that he won the NCAA 1500 title in 2019. It feels easy to underrate him. I think it's because, I don't know, maybe it's because he's run so many DMRs over the years. He's pretty humble, and he hasn't been a superstar in cross country. I'm sure that's part of the thing as well. But man, this guy is so good in the 15 mile and 3K. And, he can go past that, as he showed in cross country. ACCs, winning ACCs is not winning Pac-12s, but it's still a pretty big deal. And it's a tough argument. I don't know. I think I would have swapped Tier for him here, but, maybe some of that is just that we underrate, consistently underrate Yared Nuguse. And maybe the tiebreaker, the argument could be the tiebreaker was who has an NCAA title, and that's Yared Nuguse. He has multiple. So, I guess it's a fair argument, but I thought Tier maybe did a little bit more because Nuguse, wasn't on the track. He didn't run at the track meet, but I guess Tier didn't run in cross country either. So it was a coin flip, I guess. I talked myself into saying it was a coin flip.
Nuguse didn't have the opportunity though to do a time trial mile the way Tier had the opportunity to do a time trial 5K. So I think that's kind of why. There was no setups for fast 1500s in November and December the way there were for 5Ks and 10Ks for Cooper Tier. But yeah, I think Yared, his talent is his racing speed, not his time trial performances. So therefore, you can't, on paper, it's kind of hard to show how good he is because he ran indoor just to qualify for NCAAs, right? So he wasn't trying to run a 349 mile. He was just like, all right, 355, I'm in. 746, I'm in. Win an ACC cross country title, check. I don't need to win it by 50 seconds. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. All right, Lincoln, coming in at number 4. This is where we had the most controversy, I guess, based on your opinion and mine. I went with Danny Jones. Okay. Now, obviously, she's pro now. She actually just announced that she is signed officially with New Balance. She announced it on Instagram a few days ago. It's kind of funny. We kind of already knew that 8 months ago when you joined Coke.
Felt like that was obvious.
Yeah, it's official now. It's official. Anyway, and this is why I have her 4. She has a slash of 204 800, 427 mile, 1517 5K. She didn't even bother to run a 3K, but she definitely would have ran in low 850s, high 840s. Who runs 204 in the 800 and 1517 in the 5K in college? You don't see Raven Rogers or Nia Akins or Audrey Wilson running in the 5K. You don't see Carissa Schwartz. I mean, outside of Bowerman women, a Shelby Houlihan who's still called Shelbo 800 but can run the collegiate record in the 5K. Danny Jones is basically doing what the Bowerman Track Club women are doing, right? Running 800s and 5Ks. And I just think you don't see this from, a college kid. And to do it, she could have qualified. If she ran 3K, she would have had a top 16 mark in 4 different events from 800 to 5K. Could have been 5 if they just threw her in a DMR. Her range was just incredible, and that's why I put her at 4.
It was. I mean, for one, you can't. I don't want to take anything away from her. And one of the biggest storylines of the indoor championships that never happened was, she was going to run the mile and the 800, which was a double that we've hardly ever seen. I mean, it's just super, super rare, and she had the skill set to possibly, have a breakout in the 800 and maybe run 201 and challenge Akins for the title. We never know. But a lot of what you're saying and why I think she should be lower is hypothetical. I mean, she never ran a 3K. We can assume what she would run. Yeah, I assume she could run 849 at sea level or whatever, whatever Orton ran, but she didn't. And, Orton has the cross country edge. I know Jones was a pro at that point, but, Jones only had the indoor season in 2020, and I don't think your times are that far ahead of what Orton did that you can put her 3 spots, I guess, ahead of her. I just think that the male athletes that we mentioned below her were superior in just on what they showed. Yes, 204 is great for a 15-17 runner, but I think if you put Orton in an 800, she's going to run something comparable too as a good 1500 meter runner. It was impressive, but I didn't think that it was so impressive that she deserved to be ahead of Naguse and Cooper Tier. I don't know. I felt that 204 was kind of, I know it was run at altitude, so you could probably convert it down a little bit, but I thought it was right in line with what I would have expected. I don't think it wasn't a 201. Like, it wasn't something absurd like that indicated that she could be world class at 800. It was just like, oh, that's what a good 1500 meter runner can run in an 800, what a good 5000 meter runner can run. So, this would obviously have been different if there would have been NCAAs. I assume she would have won the mile and, gotten second in the 8, and then maybe I could have heard it a little bit. But you're relying a little bit on too much on hypotheticals. We don't know what she would have done in the 3K. I just think Orton was a little bit better, had more performances, and definitely the guys that we've mentioned, I think, would deserve to be a little bit above Jones. And I understand Jones left the NCAA after the indoor season, but still, I don't know. It wasn't so impressive. I don't think she's top 4 impressive this year.
I disagree. And the reason why, I get it. 204 is not, in a vacuum, is not impressive, but you don't see someone run 204 and 15-17 in college in the same indoor season. You just don't do that. Who's trained? I just think it's because it was a regular season that has never been done.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're right.
She's the NCAA cross country champion running an 800.
Sure.
That's like Lopez Lamong type stuff, right? Like, where he was top 10 in cross and then running the 800, you just don't see that. And I think yes, it's not 201, but the fact that she ran a top 16 mark and she's defending cross country champion, from 2 years ago, I just thought that was so unique that it had to be ranked. Yeah, maybe I should have ranked her 8th, but I ranked her 4th. And
well, not 8th. I think final, just right there with
rankings were final. So
she's a package deal with Orton, right? She's packaged. Okay, yeah. We can move along, or move on, I guess. Jones, fantastic athlete, multiple NCAA titles.
I have to grab a charger for my computer, but you can start talking about number 3.
Okay. All right, so number 3, we have Gordon's favorite. As I clear my throat, Iowa State's Wesley Kiptoo, relative newcomer to the NCAA level, a junior college transfer. He came on the scene and has been tearing it up since cross country. Won every cross country race, dominated Big 12s. Sorry, folks, clear my throat. And he proceeds to run 27:37 at the track meet, one of the best 10,000s in NCAA history, although it won't officially count. Kiptoo is probably going to be the NCAA cross country favorite when we come back to Stillwater in March. And for a guy without much experience, the fact that he has already put his reputation to that level says a lot. Everyone that knows stuff about how good of an athlete it's required to compete at the to win NCAA titles says that Kiptoo is the absolute real deal. And I'll welcome Gordon back as he will hopefully let us know more about why you put Kiptoo number 3. Now, I noticed you had his 7:51, you had his 13:43. He's faster than those times, but he also ran those at the junior college level. So you can't necessarily put that on his NCAA resume because he ran that at the junior college level.
It's collegiate. He was in college.
Okay. Collegiate.
It's college. Should we update the ticker to say best collegiate athletes of 2020 instead of NCAA athletes? Fair enough.
All right. Why Kiptoo this high?
I mean, I think it's purely based off of what he did in the cross country. He was dominating people he was just like, it wasn't even close. He was dominating Isai Rodriguez, who was fit, in shape, and probably a top 5
Yeah.
type runner in cross country. He was just smoking him like he was nothing. And coaches were taking notice, and they were like, yeah, he's the real deal. Like you said, won Big 12s. And then the 27-37, like, just put a stamp on it that, yes, he is the real deal. It was just outside of top 10 all time. And I mean, he's like a Lally Lalang, Kennedy Kathuka type athlete, I think, that we're going to see in the NCAA for these next 2 seasons. So it's going to be hard to beat him in the 5 and the 10 and in cross country. I think if he's running, I'll be interested to see what he does this indoor season. Does he try to do like an indoor 5K, then cross country? Does he only focus on cross? But he's going to collect a lot of NCAA titles in his 2 years at Iowa State. I do think it's going to be interesting, especially outdoor season, because Edwin Kurgat is returning for outdoors. So Iowa State is going to have a legitimate 1-2 punch in the 5 and the 10 at outdoors. They do have some good, 800-meter guys. I think they have 1 or 2 throwers. But, like, I could see them going 18 points, having like a Cheserek Jenkins type performance in the 5 and the 10. Now, obviously, Grijalva and Nagus and Tier, those types will potentially break it up. But, man, I think I didn't want to rank him 8th or 7th because he's new. I was like, this guy's so good. We'll look back and we'll be like, why do we rank him 8th? He's like going to destroy everyone. But he's going to destroy everyone in 2021. It's what's going to happen, especially in the 10K. 5K, maybe not, because it could become a kicker's race. But, man, he's good. So that's why we ranked him 3rd.
He is. Yeah. I mean, I do think you mentioned Grijalva and, Tier's still there. I think the fact that those guys have big NCAA race experience, I do think that that's a legitimate, tangible factor that could impact the way the NCAA cross country championships are run. Is Kiptoo actually going to run like he's been running these smaller races and Big 12s and just go out and challenge anybody to chase him? That's tough to do. I mean, that you have to be like a Lowy Lalang or a Kennedy Kathuka of that type of mind to do that in cross country. And it's bold. I agree. This is kind of an investment in the future where you're like, he doesn't maybe deserve to be 3rd, but what we've seen so far has been so good that when we look back after he's collected NCAA titles by years in 2021, that it's like, okay, that's why he was. This is kind of a bet on the future, because it does appear, Dave Smith told you he's like the real deal, legit. And, I think it says something about his ability when he runs 27-37 and you're like, oh, okay, that's fair. That's fine. I mean, any other time a college athlete running 27-30 something in the 10K is otherworldly, that's like, obviously Cheserek never ran a fast one, but that's like what Cheserek would have been capable of. Maybe not even that fast in college. Like, that's how good this guy is right now. And we've never seen him in an NCAA championships, but the potential is crazy.
Yeah. Keeping with the WK initials, number 2 is
I'm going to take issue with this one too. I'm going to take issue here. What did she do? What did she do?
She ran 31:10. She ran 31:10.
As a pro.
No, that can't. No. She was college.
Literally signed with Under Armour before this race. She
I
literally
know,
signed.
But like, in this situation, I counted, like, because of COVID, I counted everything that if you were in college in 2020 and you transferred allegiance to getting paid, it still counts on your 2020 resume.
Well, then why is Tyler Day not on this list? Why is Tyler Day? He ran 13-16 indoors or whatever it was.
Well, because Tyler Day, I mean, the 13-16 indoors doesn't look that good when then a little bit later, Luis Grijalva and Cooper Tier run. Tyler Day didn't do anything after his indoor season. That's why.
Okay.
If Tyler Day, he DNF'd in the track meet. If Tyler Day would have had a good track meet performance, then I probably would have put him in there. But he kind of stopped after indoor. He didn't really keep going. So, yeah, Wade Nicolai, 31:10 10K.
Pro athletes who recently were NCAA athletes and are NCAA, man, we are stretching this definition pretty far.
Nia Atkins is in there. Danny Jones I put in there. So I think it's fair.
Yeah, but I thought we were isolating their college performances. Okay, go ahead with Kaladi, because even if we include the 31:10, I mean, which is great, it would have been a collegiate record, but what else did she do? I mean, she didn't really run.
I wrote she was likely to win the 3K and 5K.
The hypotheticals, love it.
I mean, she didn't need to put anything fast down in indoor. She was just coming off of winning NCAA cross. She ran her 5K qualifier in December 2019, so she didn't need to run a 5K again.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just cruising for bruising, and she just was ready to roll.
Just to highlight her actual 2020 as a collegiate athlete, she ran a 4:38 mile. Now that was in Albuquerque, so whatever that converts down to, probably 4:30. 8:54 3K at the Millrose Games. Got seventh. Seventh, was beat by, well, at least a couple.
Bunch of people.
At least a couple. Couple NCAA athletes, former NCAA athletes. And then she ran a DMR in the Mountain West Indoor Champ. So pretty thin on the NCAA competition, but I guess I'll allow it because, yeah, you're right. She would have been the favorite. I mean, you talk about NCAAs being in Albuquerque. I think she would have definitely been the favorite in the 5,000 at minimum. But I don't know. Wouldn't have been a guarantee. I would not have had Wayne Kaladi this high. But I suppose her reputation precedes her. And
you know what 31:10 would have been, right? It would have been the NCAA record.
I understand. But technically we have to, that will not go down as the collegiate record. She was in an Under Armour kit, and obviously they weren't counting. I understand, but that's just the way this works. You know, it's just,
I know, but like, just because the color of her jersey was different, all of a sudden she still had 2 years of eligibility left. It's not like it was like a 5th year. Oh, I'm out. She had 2 seasons, like she had 2 years of everything left. No, she would have. Okay, if she ran a New Mexico kit and ran 31:10, what would your take be?
Yeah, I think it's totally different. But I mean, it's like, it's akin to saying that, Zion Williamson last year was the college basketball player of the year. It just so happened that he was playing for the Pelicans. Like, I mean, I understand it's a little different because it was this quick.
Little different? It's extremely different.
I don't know if it's extremely. I mean, anyways, yeah, it would have. I mean, first off, it wouldn't have counted as a collegiate record because it was run outside of an official, sanctioned season. But that's neither here nor there.
Stupid.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just letting you know. I mean, if we're trying to keep this within the rules, we're playing out of bounds at this point. I just don't know. At 31:10, yeah, if she would have actually run that, we could have said, oh, she deserves to be the NCAA athlete of the year. But as it wasn't run in those things, and it wasn't even an official season, and she's professional. She probably cashed a paycheck by then. Her student athleteness had been completely compromised at this point. She's being paid for her talent. How dare she?
You just said the phrase, if she would have actually ran 31:10. She did run 31:10. She didn't actually. It's not a hypothetical of whether or not she ran 31:10. She ran 31:10.
I don't know. This is tough. This is chicken or the egg type of a conversation here. I understand she would have and could have run that fast, but I'm just saying.
Cooper Tier didn't run for Oregon in his track meet. Fair. He was unattached.
Fair enough.
So we just pretend that didn't happen? It's all stupid rules that just random committee people create. She ran 8 seconds faster than Lisa Uhl's Iowa State's collegiate record. You're top 2, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Fine. I'll yield. I'll yield the floor to you. You can have that. All right. The good thing is, I think we agree on number 1, because our number 1 athlete has performances, even interrupted by the pandemic, has performances in all 3 phases, indoor, outdoor, and cross country, that make him the top athlete of the year. It's NAU's Luis Grijalva, who has been on a revenge tour since November of 2019. I'll read off his resume in 2020 that you've compiled here. In January 2020, he runs a 13:29 5K, which is fine, but obviously he's overshadowed by Tyler Day.
Well, sorry, hold on.
His own
Before
team.
you get it, start with what he did right before 2020 started.
Oh, well,
So
okay. So he was 52nd at the cross country national championships, which was obviously for a former All-American was a underperformance, was a disastrous day, indicative of, kind of NAU struggles as a team overall. He and Jordy Beamish's tough days really, sank their ship. So you do that, and it kind of feels like he has two ways to go. One, it's kind of like he gets discouraged, and it kind of fades back maybe, and who knows? We see athletes all the time that they underperform on the biggest level, the biggest race of their life, and they kind of fade away. He went the other way. He comes back in January 2020, wanting, like I said, wanting revenge. He runs 13:29 5K, fine. February, though, we start to see the Grijalva that we know and love today. 7:43 3K, one of the best all time. Comes back in March, right after NCAA's is canceled. Runs 4:02 at the Dome in Flagstaff. Converts to like a 3:52, 3:53 mile. He's running angry and just crushing people. October, several months pass. Beats Connor Manson cross country. Big deal. Asserts himself as a contender for the NCAA cross country title, which was just crazy for somebody who was in the 50s the year before. And then we get closer to the current days. Beats Drew Hunter in a 3K, 7:42, lowers that PR. And then the big one here, 3:16, 5K PB. It's fifth best NCAA history if it officially counted. He beats Tier, he beats Drew Hunter, and just, he's fully realized at this point. He's like running so confident. Everyone assumes he's going to win now any race he's in. It's just a whole different ballgame for Luis Grijalva in a year that most people have, in all likelihood, kind of taken a step back simply because there's been so little race opportunities. Now it's like, oh, Luis Grijalva hasn't won an NCAA title. It seems like he has because he's been so good this year, albeit while being interrupted. He's been on a roll.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Just every performance outdoes his previous performance. Like you said, 13:29 baseline. Then he improves that with an incredible 3K. Then he improves that incredible 3K with an incredible mile at altitude. Then he improves that incredible mile at altitude by beating the top returner in cross country in Connor Mance. Then he improves that by beating Drew Hunter and lowering his 3K PB. And then he improves that by running a top 5 all-time 5K mark. So literally he had 6 key performances, and each one was better than the previous one. So he just kept on getting better. So you got to imagine that. You got to imagine his 2021 should be incredible. It'll be interesting to see how Coach Smith handles him and what he does with him. Does he let him loose to run a couple indoor meets? Does he have him try to win a 5K or 3K or mile indoors? Does he keep him fresh for cross? I mean, does he look at Wesley Kiptoo as like, hey, maybe you're not going to beat Kiptoo in a 10K and cross.
No,
you're more likely to be a top 5 guy and maybe go all in and try to win the 5-3 double indoors or something like that. I don't know. It'll be interesting because what event does Grijalva have the best chance of winning an individual title? Right
now it's
cross country, 3K indoor, 5K indoor. Which one?
I mean, I would say the 3. It depends on, like, is Nagus going to run the 3? I mean, I still think Grijalva would be favored over him, but I guess I just no other caveats. I'd probably say the 3.
Yeah, but is him going all in on the 3 hurt his cross country performance?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you go all in. Maybe you go all in on the 5, knowing it's the first day, and then I guess we don't know if if it's going to be a 3-day schedule. I assume the 5 would still be the first day.
It's 5 would be on a Thursday.
So I run the 5 and then come back on Monday and run cross country. I think that's what you do and kind of forget the 3K just because the schedule. But that's my opinion. I mean, he's run 13:16. It's not like he can't beat Wesley Kiptoo. He can't beat. Well, he's proven he could beat Cooper Tier. So maybe that's what you do is you run the 5 and then cross country on Monday.
Also, you got to think about this factor with these athletes going pro now. All of a sudden, see Kaladi go pro. You saw Taylor Warner go pro. A couple others might be coming. Like, will Mike Smith be able to hold on to Grijalva? He still has him for like 2 more cross country seasons.
Yeah.
So, like, is he gonna be able to hold on to him? Like, is NAU gonna lose Grijalva because of his COVID performances? Like,
you would know more than me. Somebody emailed in and said that he's not an American citizen. He is an American citizen, right?
I think he has dual citizenship.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, because if he was going to just represent Guatemala, I'd say his prospects are probably not as high. But if he's going to be American, he would be attractive for brands. I think this guy really wants to win a title. I think he's going to know. I mean, maybe if somebody blows him away with a deal, but I don't think any brands right now are in the business of blowing people away with deals. Perhaps. I think, his best chance for something would come in June after NCAA Outdoors. So I think he's fine to wait. You win a couple titles, his stock's going to go way up. And that makes the most sense to stay through the outdoor season, I think. So I wouldn't worry about that.
I think he would go if Grijalva has an incredible March weekend with cross and indoor, I could see him going pro a month later. They'll be like, all right, you're the guy. Don't stop with the NCAA nonsense. Get ready for the trials,
Okay.
And he represent Adidas or Under Armour or whoever's throwing money around at that moment.
Well, we shall see. Of course I could see that. I mean, people are going pro at any point. We had people in the past go pro in the middle of the indoor season. So it does happen, and obviously with all the stars of the NCAA kind of leaving, given that the uncertainty of the seasons, it wouldn't be a huge shocker. But I think for him, the way he's been going, the man on the mission that he is, I think NCAA titles are first and foremost in his mind right now. But money talks, obviously. We'll see what's out there after kind of this indoor cross-country hybrid season.
I just think it's wild that the man who finishes 52nd in cross-country goes on to be the FloTrack Athlete of the Year in 2020.
Pretty good.
It's like, who would have thought? I mean, it makes sense because 52nd wasn't indicative of his ability because he was doing well during the regular season of cross. But it's kind of wild that, like, hey, like, just because one bad race doesn't define you, and Luis Grijalva is a living, breathing proof of that. That
absolutely,
yeah, things can get better. And as much as, like, especially for NAU, like, they had a chance to do something crazy during indoors. We talked about looking at the form charts. Like, they had the bodies to potentially win the whole thing, not just podium, and they knew that, and that opportunity be taken away. It's not like they're going to have that opportunity again with new everything set up differently. Like, it was a once in a lifetime team opportunity. So it sucks on that end, but I think he turned lemons into lemonade by going on and just having an incredible 2020 that will set him up for the rest of his career. Like, he's now has built a resume that now he just needs to win maybe one NCAA title. And now he can be like, hey, I have value. And now he can get paid to run. And getting paid to run is very hard to do. Like, not many people get paid to run. And if he's doing that, more people get paid to play basketball. More people get paid to play football. But he's getting paid to run. That's unique. I'm assuming he's going to get paid. And maybe if 2020 doesn't happen, he doesn't develop this resume, I mean, he probably would have still anyway, but hey, there are some winners that come out of COVID. That's all I'm trying to say. Luis Grijalva is one of the winners.
Maybe not COVID exactly, but just the cancellations caused by COVID. Yes. I don't think he wins in COVID, but in any case, Grijalva, Athlete of the Year, makes sense. We'll see what he can do in early 2021. Excited to see a little bit down the road what he and the rest of our athletes, at least the ones still in the NCAA, can do. As I just try to clear my throat for the 90th time. Sorry, folks. It's just always delightful on this show. All right, we'll call it there. Our NCAA Best Athletes of the Year pod for 2020. We will catch you down the road a little bit later this week.